Did Santa bring you some nice presents, boys?
My lovely streamer compadre, Frankie Rambles, has given me a bonfire display, which once I've still kept it in its like wrapping paper because I'm just like, I just want to, well, not sorry, the cellophane. I'm just going to leave it there until I tidy up. I'm going to stick it straight bang in front of my monitor, and I'm going to be mega happy about it.
You know what I thought after I bought the display for you? It's like, I know your track record with DIY hasn't been stellar, so I was thinking you're going to have to try and put that up on your wall and somehow not demolish the entire house.
Dan, you gave me a Bloodborne display years ago, and that is currently, it's not hung up because I think the stickiness is sort of worn off on it, but it's still sat right next to me on my little desk area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, it's usually cloves, smellies, chocolate, the occasional extra goodie. I said this to my girlfriend, like, I think the best thing I've received this Christmas is an electric toothbrush, because I've been asking for that for weeks. Have I reached a point now? Am I old?
No, because I don't know if it was my birthday or it was last Christmas. I asked for an electric toothbrush myself, so no. Sometimes, like, the thing is, you think about the things you use, sometimes they're more useful than just getting chocolates or whatever. So, you know. No.
So, like, last year, the main thing I wanted last year was socks, because I was just going through socks so quickly. And, you know, as a kid, like, you're always like, oh, socks again. Thanks, Mum. Thanks, Gran. But last year, I got socks. Like, fucking socks! Yes!
Oh, no. Like, there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with, you know, getting an electric toothbrush for Christmas. I've had that as a present.
You know what the best present I've ever had for Christmas is? I'm talking like
a small Dark Souls figurine.
It's up there. Years and years ago, when I moved into a flat like above a pub, and I was living on my own, my folks came round like the day before Christmas with like a huge cardboard box, and it was just full of groceries and stuff like toiletries, like toilet paper and all that kind of stuff. It's like all the stuff he'd actually use. It's like, wow, it's like must have been about 50-60 quid's worth of shopping. It's like, no, I'm going to use every single bit of that, and I sure did.
A weekly shop for Christmas. That's quite cute.
Pretty much everything I need, like crisps, like chocky bars. Especially if it's 2020, then trying to get toilet paper in that day and age, blimey, that would have been a.
Fucking hell, that alone is 50 quid.
I would scout that on eBay.
Yeah, I really like the display you got me, Chris. That was, I'll be honest, one of my favourite. I remember I opened it and just stared at it for like 5 minutes. Easily one of my favourite things. The only problem is, because of how I like my walls in my room, I don't think I'm going to be putting it up until I have my own house. That's the only problem.
Fair.
But it's because otherwise it just clutters my walls, and it's just like, I've got it in view, but it's not going to be hung up on a wall until I have my own place. But I really like that. Obviously, like what you gave me, Brandon, the little Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, Dark Souls figurine. He's sat with many of my other figurines.
Which one did you get, Chris?
I got the Silver Knight Archer.
Ooh, the bastard from Anor Londo.
Yeah, I'll be perfectly honest, Brandon. When I first opened it and I saw it's like Lord Gwyn on the front, my first thought was, I hate that. I do not like chibi stuff where it's like big heads and whatnot. But the Silver Archer one is actually pretty much more to scale.
Yeah.
So when I got the box, I looked like, because I saw the front and I saw Gwyn was like the super big one, and then I saw like 6 small ones on the side. I was like, hang on a minute, is it all 6 in one box?
Oh, so it's random.
One big Gwyn.
So
yeah, it's a random. Yeah.
Oh, so none of us knew what we had.
No, I did not look into any of yours.
Because the one you've got, Brandon, I'm glad I didn't have that one, because
I don't mind Yorshka.
I remember she was from Dark Souls 3, but it took me a little while. And the Guinevere one, I don't know, that was too much. From looking at that looked too much.
Yeah, they're all like Anor Londo based, aren't they?
Yeah.
Silver Knight, Black Knight, Dark Souls, Gwendolyn.
The Gwendolyn one looks amazing.
To be honest, I thought the Gwendolyn one looked really good. I'm happy with my Gwyn, Lord of Cinder.
So I just keep getting flashbacks to the fucking rafters with a Silver Knight firing arrows at you.
Poison arrowet.
Yeah.
Or get good.
Easiest way to defeat that, if you don't know, guys, if you're playing Dark Souls for the first time and you come into the Silver Knights, easiest way to deal with him is just run up to him, then run away ever so slightly, and he follows you, and he always falls to his death every time. There you go.
There we go.
There's a little hint for me to you.
My problem was actually getting closer to him, because that knockback of the dragon bow was horrendous.
Yeah. Yeah, you get hit once and that's it. You go flying. Whatever. I think that was for me probably the first proper roadblocking Dark Souls one. The first time I was playing it. Like, how the fuck do I get past this?
Yeah,
Well, I brought Chris Trauma for Christmas. Great.
Yeah, no, I got 7 volumes of Berserk. I got more. I've got the full collection of Fire Punch manga as well. Yeah, I got a whole load of chocolates and sweets and mostly the usual stuff. But no, I got some nice stuff. It was quite a nice year. I was saying to someone earlier, I hate this part of me. I think sometimes I can be quite ungrateful over certain presents. And this year I was really good. I was like, there's nothing that's I've been slightly disappointed over. But I think some people buy me things and they think, oh, that's really good, and then I'm just like, oh, this makes me sound shit. I'm just like, I don't think you would use this or wear that. I'm like, I don't know why. I don't know. This makes me sound fucking shit. Sorry.
No, because sometimes people do like the courtesy present or like the under the Christmas tree fillers. You know, like in series you have the filler arcs. You get filler presents which are just there to exist. Like Link's Africa, it exists.
The thing is,
we don't want to touch it, but it's there.
Because someone bought me a T-shirt last Christmas, and I've already got rid of it because the design. I would not wear that. I would not wear that in public. Oh my gosh, I would not wear that in public.
Have you got any pictures of it?
No, I've got rid of it. All I say is it involves 2 characters, and one is hitting the other in the balls.
That narrows it down to nothing.
And so you can probably wonder why I would not wear that out in public. Like just
for it to work to do.
See, I'd keep a shirt that you don't like, just for like if you do any painting or DIY around the house. Like, right, where's that crap?
Yeah.
The thing is, I've got like 20 of those T-shirts. Because they're all my old work T-shirts. Until my ex-work gave me official work T-shirts, which I've now binned anyway because I don't work there anymore. I just wore my old T-shirts. So sometimes I would wear like an Attack on Titan, then it would be loads of Legend of Zelda, and then it'd be some music ones. So
do you find like me, like you're saying like, oh, we prefer like practical things now because I think we're all a bit older. I see Christmas is way more for kids without like expendable income. But now, like you'll probably find that when it comes to like Christmas and like birthdays, people say, what do you want? It's like, I don't really want anything. It's like, I've already have enough stuff. Honestly, if I wanted something, I'd just fucking buy
it. Yeah, exactly. So I got 7 volumes of Berserk. So I was just like, I want to read it, the whole thing before I go to Japan. And I was like, I still need like nearly 20 volumes. So just buy me. I was like, I need all these volumes. You buy me these. You buy me this. You buy me this. There you go. Like now, I only need 9 volumes, and then I've got all of them.
That's a lovely collection you've got going there of Berserk.
Yeah, I've got full works of Tatsuki Fujimoto as well. No, it's been a good Christmas this year because I kind of had 2 Christmas days back to back. One with my dad, and then one with my mum and my brother and my sister-in-law. It was quite nice.
Oh, obviously, one of the biggest things I've had happen to me this year was getting a puppy. So, you know, like quite often you see like new parents, the baby tends to get like a lot of stuff for their first Christmas. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with Freya.
Aww.
She probably had about 10 toys. First couple of toys, she didn't quite know what to do with the thing wrapped in paper. But then she sort of realised, I need to rip this paper off. But it got to a point where she's ripping the paper. The toy is now safely excavated from the wrapping paper, but she's still continuously trying to unwrap this paper or shred it to pieces. Like, no, Freya, present's here. Look, squeaky ball. No, leave the paper alone. Oh, shucks. Yeah, it was cute. It was really, really cute seeing her play with all her new toys. And then it got to a point as well. Lacey got like a gift box from her parents of like a lot of plushies. And Freya kept thinking, are these also for me? It was like trying to chase them as well. No. Yeah. It was great.
Well, everyone, I suppose it's time to say Happy New Year to all of you. By the time this comes out, yay! I hope you're still alive. That would be excellent. I'm joined today by the always excellent Brandon.
Hello.
And the also always excellent Dan.
Hi.
So, lads, we have got a bit of a backlog to get through because last episode was the Games of the Year's one. So there are a few games that I would have talked about, but didn't get round to. But I
Same.
suppose we're all the same, yeah. So
Yes, because
who wants to take it away?
I don't mind. How about you take it away, Chris?
All right, take it away now. Where the fuck do I start? Right, Grime. Grime was one I wanted to talk about last time, but didn't get a chance. And at time of recording, and it might even still be when this episode comes out, it's also on PlayStation Plus now. But I paid money for this. This is a game I had my eye on for a while, because I thought, hello, this is a Metroidvania Souls-like, like Hollow Knight. And I really, really like those types of games. You know, there's a slight hint that we might like Dark Souls on this channel, and Metroid as well. So I bought this for like 15 quid. I thought, oh, it's on offer. So I'll buy it 15 quid. And not like 2 weeks later, it's finally on PlayStation Plus. So, because of course it is, after not being on it for like a year. Deep breath. But yeah, even though I paid for it, it was worth every penny. I really, really enjoyed Grime. So, as I said, it's like a 2D Metroidvania Souls-like. Normally, like with these types of games, it kind of like leans one way into the other. Like, is it more of a Metroid game? Is it more of a Dark Souls one? This one like finds quite the balance. As you'd expect, it's got a like stamina thing. It's got its version of Estus, plenty of weapons to find with like upgrade materials, as you'd expect. But there is quite a lot of emphasis on exploration. There is hidden stuff everywhere. There's so much like nooks and crannies to find stuff in. And it's all like well worth checking out because normally it's like more experience. Yeah, it's a couple of weeks since I played this. I'm trying to remember all the ins and outs of it. God, I wish I'd made notes on this show. So there is a massive emphasis on a parrying system. Like you think like Sekiro. But this one does it differently. So there are a number of enemies you can fight in this game. And there are a lot of bigger enemies as well, which once you kill them, they stay dead. They don't respawn when you go to this game's version of a bonfire. And if you kill them, you get these things called hunt points, and they work in collaboration with another system, which is like another hunting mechanic, where if you kill like X amount of enemies by absorbing, like parrying them, you can unlock their skills, and you can use said hunt points to upgrade them further. So, say for example, you kill one enemy, and it says, "Oh, this enemy now gives you like 10% more health permanently." If you upgrade it, it'll go like 20% more health, 30% more health, etc., etc. And there's a ton of stuff like that, as well as like your traditional like Souls-like leveling system. Armor in this game you can find in sets, like torsos, arms, legs. How it works in this is like you don't get like a sort of defense buff. Instead, each set like affects your stats differently. So some will give you like +4 strength, +4 dex, that kind of thing. And if you get like the full set, you also get like a unique bonus to it as well. Yeah, there's plenty of mechanics in it, all of which feel like they've just been ripped straight from somewhere else, but they're all done incredibly well. I especially like the parrying system. I thought I wouldn't like it, but it acts like kind of a counter. But it also, once you upgrade it, it can damage your enemies, it can absorb your health, it can cause you to do more damage for a set period of time after you've done it, which I found for the later bosses was kind of how I got into a flow of it. It causes like you to be more aggressive. It's like find the correct point to block and then wail on them. I was mostly using like a sort of club, but a couple of fast daggers as well. So I'd try and reclaim as much health as possible in a short amount of time. Yeah, I really, really like it. I can't recommend it enough. I think it'd be right up your alley, lads. Yeah, Grime is available on all platforms to my knowledge, and it's a really, really good time.
To be honest, it's very funny you mentioned Grime because it's going to follow on quite nicely to what I've been up to for the past probably 3 days. Actually, no, maybe 3 days. So again, I was just scouring the PlayStation Store, and there was a game on there which I've been eyeing for a little bit of time, not too long. And it's a game called Curse of the Dead Gods. Have you played it at all?
I've heard of it, but I've not played it.
So Curse of the Dead Gods is a roguelike game.
So it's a spin-off of Dead Cells.
It's got a Dead Cells update in it. I don't necessarily know if it's a spin-off of Dead Cells, because to be honest, I don't really know anything about Dead Cells, because isn't that a 2D?
That's a 2D Metroidvania Souls-like, but
yeah.
That's the thing is with Dead Cells, it's like a roguelike randomized every time you run.
So for Curse of the Dead God, so in terms of so if you've played things, your general roguelikes like Binding of Isaac, Cult of the Lamb, things like that. In terms of sort of the world itself, you've got 3 lineages of tombs which you can go into. The different lineages, be it like the tomb of the jaguar, the tomb of the serpent, and like the tomb of the. We're just gonna branch it down to like harpy, serpent, and jaguars. And you've got basically like the sort of like a curse or a corruption system. So every time you go into a new room or a floor, you take on like a 20% corruption gauge, basically. Every time your gauge fills up to 100, you get basically a curse, and this can either act as a buff or a debuff depending on how lucky or unlucky you are. So there comes the RNG mechanics there. And likewise with your other roguelikes, you start off with a random primary weapon, secondary weapon, or a two-handed weapon. There are like perks you can start off with. So as you go through the game, you can start with 1 perk or 2 perks or 3 perks. You can also, every time you beat a boss, you basically get like different currencies to unlock new weapons, also new like bonus starts. So whether you want new perks, whether you want to expand your starting arsenal of different weapons and their tier of the starting items. I'm thoroughly enjoying myself with it. In terms of like the actual levels themselves, as I mentioned, you've got your 3 lineages. So you've got your, I think each part of a dungeon has about 10 floors before it leads up into a boss. So imagine going for like your 10 floors. Every time you go for a floor, you get 20 corruption. You know, you go through looting, getting artifacts to build up your stats, get gold to buy new upgrades. Then you fight the first boss. Once you've done that for like the first sort of tier of each dungeon, you then go into like tier 2, where now you've got 20 floors to go through. Oh, I forgot to mention an important thing about the corruption mechanic. If you get 5 different stacks of corruption, basically you then get like your death corruption, which basically you're so corrupted, your health is going to gradually deplete to 1. So you're trying your best to not get hit by any corruption causing damage and trying to minimize your risk of getting corrupted as you go through, because ultimately it makes your life easier if you get through with the least corruption. So you've got that. There's also like a passive system to it, split into the red, green and blue. So I think there's like perception. I can't remember what the names of them are, but essentially one of them gives you extra health, one of them gives you extra damage, and the other one gives you extra chance of finding good loot. So yeah, it's literally like your roguelike. You go through, do your different tiers of your dungeons, and I've struggled quite a bit on the first dungeon and also the tier 2 of the first dungeon. I was stuck on those for a good periods of time, but the second dungeon, the Harpy dungeon and the Serpent dungeon, I actually got through relatively easy, and I beat the tier 2s maybe first time. But the tier 2 of the Jaguar dungeon, I was stuck on there for a good while. But then as soon as I started to approach it in a Souls-like fashion, I was just steamrolling through the game. I was like, okay, I just have to take it a bit slower. Because unlike your other roguelikes where it's literally like a bullet hell where you have to fast paced, got to get through it. You've really got to take on your time in it, learn the mechanics of each of the different enemies and sort of plan, okay, you will give me corruption, so I need to try and hit you from afar. I need a heavy weapon to do this and this. I need to, I'm really, really enjoying myself. If you like roguelikes, check out Curse of the Dead Gods. I'm having a great time. If you're really good at it, I don't see it, you can probably just get through it all in a day, but, just give it a go. I'm having a blast with it.
What's it on? What are you playing it on?
I'm playing it on the PlayStation at the moment. I'm pretty certain. I'm just going to check on Steam, because I think, is it on here? Curse of the Dead Gods is also on Steam, and it's currently 65% off at the time of recording.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah.
What about yourself, Dan? Have you been up to anything?
I was playing it before we did the Game of the Year, and I thought I might be able to mention it, but I didn't. As probably the same with Chris mentioning Grime. I've been playing Final Fantasy 16.
How's that been going? Apart from obviously the music you really like.
Oh, the music's incredible. Music is absolutely incredible. Easily one of the best soundtracks this year. Easily. It won that award, and I'm not even surprised. It's really, really fucking good. That is probably like the best thing I can say. That's like the best thing about it. But that's the more I play Final Fantasy 16, the more I want to play it. It is a good game. Final Fantasy 16 feels like the course correction Square Enix have needed Final Fantasy since Final Fantasy 12.
Oh,
so how does the gameplay loop work in this one? Because I'm intrigued.
This
combat
gameplay is essentially Final Fantasy 7 remake meets Devil May Cry.
I see.
Essentially, so the thing is with Square Enix, they just every game now they just want to get further and further away from their roots. Like, okay, take, Tears of the Kingdom. Even that is getting, further and further away from the roots of Zelda. But the thing is, like, the skeleton of what, Zelda is still there. Whereas, like, Final Fantasy is just getting further and further away. So 16 kind of feels like it does feel a bit more connected to, let's say, Final Fantasy 1. If you compare to, like, Final Fantasy 15, yeah, there's things that I think my biggest problem with, well, Final Fantasy 15 was just a mess from start to finish. The story's, like, just not developed. And yeah, you could say you got the DLC. That I don't... If it's not actually in the fucking game, it's not been done right. Like, 13 was still a bit of a mess, and it's just a hallway simulator. To be fair, Final Fantasy 10 can be a bit of a hallway simulator. It's a lot of parts of it, but there's a lot more to explore in that game. But 13 is just a hallway simulator, and you basically just press the same fucking button. Although, as you both know, I've got a weird love for 13. 15 is still it's just a mess. So 16 feels like a course correction. From the get-go, it really decides to develop the main cast of characters, or the main character, because you're mainly following Clive, the main character. But it actually takes the time to develop him, so you get to see his backstory and understand how he's got to be where he is, and the trauma that's caused him, and his motives. And unlike 15, it actually does what it needs to do. Whereas 15, it's like, oh, just watch this film, watch this anime. Yeah, oh no, then this character dies, but like we don't experience that, so we don't give a shit. Whereas 16 makes you care about the characters. The combat is fun for the most part, because there are big enemies, and I realised this today. The big enemies on the overworld, every fight with them is exactly the fucking same. It doesn't matter what it is, it's exactly the fucking same, because the stagger mechanic is back in this game, as it's since Final Fantasy 13. It's just a staple of Final Fantasy now that you can stagger the enemies, which is fair enough. But unlike the past ones, in 16 it feels like it's the same process every time, which is, I guess, the one downside I'd say about the combat is the staggering. Other than that, there's quite a lot of fun moves to do while you're in fighting, because there's a move where you can just hold square and you can charge up your sword and imbue it with fire. If you hold triangle when you do a magic attack, it will make it stronger. You can press like square and X and you'll do like a lunge attack. Obviously you got your standard combo of just pressing square, but there's a lot more interesting things to do in combat, which makes it much more like a Devil May Cry than a Final Fantasy. The gimmick of this Final Fantasy is that the summons, you get to like use their powers. So I've only just got the second summon, so I'm not that far in, but I've played enough to talk about it. So the second one is Garuda, and so you get a whole load of wind abilities, and it's pretty fun you can switch in battle. You can switch between the two, or however many you get, you can switch between different summons. I think the only problem is I don't know if elements mean anything, because every time I use just the magic for either the summon you have at the beginning or the second one, it always does the same damage. So I don't think there's anything like, there's no, although there's elemental elements are a thing, I don't think it means anything. It's just like, it's more the other powers you get with your summons but then the actual fire magic or wind magic, it's the same damage regardless of what enemy. I could be wrong on that, but that's what it seems like to me. Or if you're in a party, which most time you have companions, you don't control them, but they have no health bar either, so you just have one health bar, and that's just Clive, your main character, which is good, because you're just focusing on your one character surviving, and the other characters just do their job. So the story so far is been fun. Where I've just got to, there's I say big reveal. It's like so fucking obvious. It's like I called it. I was like, it's this. And then 5 hours later, it gets revealed. I'm like, yeah, of course it is. It's fucking obvious. I think one problem with the story is and I think it's Final Fantasy being Final Fantasy, it just throws so much lore at you, and you're just trying to understand it. And it does this weird thing called active time lore, where you can look at lore during cutscenes. You like hold the touchpad and it will bring up like these bubbles, and it will have like, let's say it have like a bubble with Clive, the main character's face on it. You go on it, it will tell you who he is, and once you get further into the game, so it's where I am now. You have like a base of, once you get like the base of operations, there's a man who you can go to him and you can read all this lore if you didn't choose to read it. I think that's the only thing, is there's a lot of lore that it kind of expects you to just read, which is a bit annoying, where it doesn't just give you it through actual storytelling. But I guess that's Square Enix being Square Enix, I guess. I think Square Enix are just what they are. I think they always just try to be ambitious, and it either works or it doesn't. But the more I play Final Fantasy 16, the more I want to play it. But no, there's a lot of positives to it, and I think it's probably the Final Fantasy I've been waiting since Final Fantasy 12. I know people don't like 12, but I think 12 is a good Final Fantasy, and I think this is probably the best Final Fantasy since then. If we're not counting Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I'm talking about mainline, and I've not played the online ones. I hear 14's amazing, but I don't know, I'm not ready for a commitment like that. No, Final Fantasy 16 is good fun.
Nice one.
At least you can actually go to different places, unlike 13 where it's just a hallway, and then 15, the further you get in, it decides that it's now a hallway simulator.
It's a shame, like, to lose touch of the open worldness that they've enjoyed for. You guys have done any more games?
No, I've not played any more. Well, we always play games. Nothing that I've not spoken about before. I did get Jedi Survivor for Christmas, so I'll be playing that at some point and speaking about it on the podcast. But that's future Dan will talk about that, not present Dan.
Well, as per usual, I went to chime in with a couple of points then and realised I muted my mic because my dad started talking very loudly outside my phone on his phone.
I thought you were a bit quiet. Could you? What points do you have?
I had a couple of interjections, and I even said, like, right, unmute your mic, and I didn't do it. I was just saying, like, in Final Fantasy, like, yeah, I agree. I don't think they've been good since 12, and honestly, I don't like the stagger mechanic in the battle. Like, it was like fine for one game, and then it's just like, yeah, to keep doing it, and I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, it's quite, as I said, it's quite. The boss fights in 16 are quite fun, actually. They're very cinematic, but the stagger mechanic, when you just on the overworld and you find one of the big enemies, it's just, if you play it, you'll see what I mean. It plays out the same every time. It doesn't matter what enemy you'll hit it. Eventually, when it gets to half health, when it gets close to half health, it will stagger, do all the damage, gets to half health, and you just rinse and repeat. And it's just like, great. It's like, oh, I did more damage here, but it didn't really fucking matter. It seems
to me like in order to do Final Fantasy ones, it feels like you're only ever doing chip damage, and you're never like doing any like mighty wallops. Like, you never seem to like one shot anything. It just seems like you're just grinding them down ever so slowly.
Yeah,
like over the last couple of games, it's like, fucking die.
It is like that. Like, the boss fights I don't mind because, as I said, they're quite cinematic, and it makes for quite a fun cinematic fight. But like, I had one boss fight where it was when you're playing. It's like where it's the final bit of the Garuda fight, and I just realised if I just did one thing, I would if I use my range attack, I would beat it, and Garuda couldn't hit me, and it just made it like the most boring boss fight ever. But then the problem is, as soon as I didn't do it, I'll get hit and nearly lost like a quarter of my health. So I was just like, well, I can't just attack Garuda physically because I won't evade quick enough because of what my character is currently, without spoiling anything, I can't really say. But I was just like, I'll just use my range attack, and there we go. But then, I don't know. I'm sure, like, in our last episode I mentioned that it's some people that we know, it's their favourite game of the year. And I can see it. Like, comparing it to like past Final Fantasies, yeah, it probably is the Final Fantasy you've been waiting for a while in the main line. I can see why it's had a lot of good reviews, but yeah, the stagger mechanic it's not fun. I think this is the worst it's been.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least in Final Fantasy 13, depending on the enemies, it would be quite quick. Or it could be slow, but that would be the gimmick of... That was alright. It just seems the same thing every fucking enemy. It's quite annoying.
I miss the turn-based battles.
Well, there's something called Octopath Traveler. Anyway.
Sea of Stars, perhaps.
that too.
Yeah.
Or many other games.
Mario RPG, which I shall be getting soon.
That's the thing. I think if you want more traditional Final Fantasy, like turn-based, there's other avenues, other games to play. And I think...
That's it. They've got to pick up the slack because they're not doing it anymore.
I know. That's the thing. And which is frustrating because I think I've said this before. Like, Final Fantasy used to be one of my top 3 gaming franchises, and it's just fallen off. Like, I don't even know it might be from Software games now. Just maybe the Dark Souls. Just
it was like my favorite franchise until around shortly after 12, and then it sort of nosedived. And nothing has really come out has grabbed my attention. However, I have downloaded another Final Fantasy game. Although I must stress, I've only put about half hour into it because I've not had time. I've been busy with other things. It's not because I don't enjoy it. It's because I've been playing something else, and I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole of stop playing it and then start playing another thing and then completely fall out of where I'm at in my current game. But I've downloaded Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origin, which is like Final Fantasy but Dark Souls, or at least so I'm told. And what I've played so far, it's got like it's like real time combat. There's like a attack, a parry, a dodge, as you'd expect. But there's like a party of 3. There's like a sort of bonfire system, and it seems to be like mission based, like Neo. But it's also got like a drop system, like Diablo, so for equipment. Again, that's like Neo as well. Actually, I say like Dark Souls. It's probably more like Final Fantasy Neo. But it's shaping up like I might like it a fair bit. I think it got like lukewarm reception when it came out, but I'm not sure why, because at the minute it seems fine. I'm not sure if it diverges too much from, I'd say, traditional Final Fantasy, but that's all stagger mechanics now. And
I feel
disappointing.
Like, from what I've heard, Stranger of Paradise doesn't take itself seriously. And it doesn't. It's so bombastic. That's kind of why it's kind of fun.
It's kind of like a soft reboot of like the very first one, because it's like all about chaos and just kicking the shit out of him. Like the opening cutscene is just like, it's actually really cool. Like it's just chaos, like killing a load of people. It's like, that's pretty badass. And then you cut to your main character and his friends. It's like oh, you're gonna kill him. It's like, what do you want him? It's like, no, I just want him dead. That's all I care about. It's like, you get behind that. Just kill the fucker. He's evil.
I think
you need more than that.
I think before it was out, I think I looked at it and I was like, this looks shit. And then I think since it's come out, I think I hear more positive things than anything. So I've not played it, so I don't know myself. But I hear more positive things about it than negative.
Well, one of the first enemies you fight in the game is bombs, like your traditional ones, and they look like bombs in Final Fantasy. It's like, I get to fight them in real time. And there's no stagger mechanic. I just hit the fucker. It's great. So, I'm looking forward to playing a bit more of it. And I'm pretty sure I will enjoy it more than the other game beginning with S, which I have been playing. Sonic Frontiers.
Okay.
So I bought this last year, and I only really bought it because I didn't really have anything else I wanted to play. It was shortly after I finished Lies of P, so I was like, now what?
You need something to fill the void.
I need something to fill the void, yeah. And also they had like a sale on the PlayStation Store. I was like, I want to buy something like newish to play. I've seen Sonic Frontiers. It was like the full package for like 20 quid. And it's like, I ain't seen anything else I'm bothered about. And people are like, it's not fantastic, but it feels like Sonic Adventure in places. So I was like, I do like me some Sonic Adventure. So I just thought, fuck it, I'll just throw my hands up. Don't care what people say. Give it a go. Yeah, it's a Sonic game, all right.
Oh.
You can tell by the jank.
Oh.
Yeah. It is a janky game. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you played it then?
No, but I'm aware. The thing is, what I've heard is like, I can't remember what was the other game that came out at similar time last year? And I just remember people being like, oh yeah, I think it was God of War Ragnarok. It was just like, God of War Ragnarok is categorically a better game, but I'm having more fun playing Sonic Frontiers. That was everything I heard about Sonic Frontiers. That was a review of those two games. God of Ragnarok's better, but Sonic Frontiers is more fun than Ragnarok. So I heard people on podcasts playing Frontiers more than Ragnarok just because it's more fun.
See, my first thought of like Sonic Frontiers, even before I played it, there's I'm not going to say the name, but there's a YouTuber I watch, quite prolific, and I do think they're very good. But he did a sort of sponsorship, sort of Sonic Frontiers video where he's like sort of early access when he's talking about it, and you can tell by the look in his eyes that what he's saying he doesn't like fully believe. It's like he's saying like how the game's good. It's like. Tell me where they've got the gun pointing at you. You can just say it. It's just like, well, I like bits of the game. So if you don't know, Sonic Frontiers is more of an open world game. There's like stuff to find. There's like basically like mini assault courses. There's combat in it and like real time, which is like sort of melee fast melee based. It's a bit of a weird mix, it must be said. But you've also got sprinkled in sort of like 2D and like more traditional Sonic adventure, sort of like heading away from the camera going forward at like high speeds. And those bits are good. I like those bits, you know, when it actually feels like a Sonic game. The open world bits, not so much. So you've got like a sort of island, but for all intents and purposes, there's stuff to find, but none of it feels like you're making progress. It's like there's loads of stuff, but all of it seems like drops in a bucket to like working towards a bigger goal. So, you know, like say a game like Mario 64, you get a star and it like feels, oh fuck yeah, got a star. That's what I'm after. You don't sort of get that feeling. It's like, yeah, you got more stuff. Just stick it on the pile. I kind of had that feeling with Mario Odyssey as well. They said like, oh yeah, there's like 12,000 moons. It's like, you what?
Yeah, that's. Yeah, no, I get that with Odyssey.
Yeah, so there's a combat system with like an upgrade, like skill tree. You get experience points doing it. But I've got to be honest, I've not played it. I've put like, about 6 hours doing it. I've pretty much filled up the skill tree already. I'm nowhere near to finishing the game. It's like, yeah, now what? And I've heard that's also a common criticism in the game. It's like, yeah, you fill up like the skill tree like super fast. And then you just earning skill points and like, nothing to spend them on, which is a legitimate concern. For the actual, like, to get like the upgrade things, like there's stuff everywhere, but there's a lot of emphasis on like the rail grinding and platforming and timing puzzles, but none of it feels cohesive. It feels like they've just been like made to like slapdash and just put there. It kind of reminds me of, you know, if you're looking on Steam at like cheap games and you can just see like stuff in the sky, it's just like just being plastered there like a sort of asset flip. It's just like randomly placed. It feels like that.
Oh,
it's like oh, I'm looking in the sky. Look at all these like these rails and loop loops just up there. They don't feel connected at all. They just feel like somebody's accidentally misclicked and put them there because they don't belong there. It just feels like that. There are parts where you play as Super Sonic, but they're like limited to boss fights. So again, like for story reasons, you can't just like unlock. Well, to my knowledge, you can't just like unlock him and play it as him, which they haven't done for such a long time. Like Sonic Mania did it, and like the original games did. But every other time, it's just been like for story reasons. Like, no, let me run. I know I can run fast, but I want to run faster. I want to be able to not even control him, which is honestly how you feel half the time playing this. You can't control him anyway. Honestly, like trying to do like rails like in the sky and trying to judge where you're gonna land is a bit of a clusterfuck. It's like, especially with like some of the camera angles when you're like high up in the air, you're trying to like jump from one platform to the platform. It feels like just pure luck. Like if you press the jump button, it's like I've got no fucking idea where I'm gonna land because I cannot tell spatially where that platform is compared to me because like the camera's at a weird like 47-degree angle. No idea where I'm going to land. And then you ultimately end up falling straight down, and then you look right back up and go, right, I've got to do at least like 2 minutes of platforming to get back up there to even attempt that again. Bollocks to that. I'm just going to go to the next thing. And yeah, there's a lot of other stuff to find. There's these little creatures you can find and turn into like merchants, which will upgrade your like health and speed. But I'm just going to say exactly what they are. They're the Koroks from the Zelda ones. Yeah, Breath of the Wild. They're just the Koroks. That's literally what they are. They even look the same. They're like little stone creatures with like, that's fucking Koroks. It's like you're very close to having a lawsuit here, Sonic Frontiers. I mean, there were nuggets of good bits. As I say, the actual platforming, adventure 2D bits that are like locked behind gates, they're good. I like them. The open world, no. I did wonder how the fuck they're going to do an open world in the Sonic game because it's all about moving fast, and the answer is it doesn't really work. Take that what you will. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I might pick it up again. It's one of those games. It feels like I'm going to play this between the actual games I actually want to play, which is exactly how I bought it in the first place. Yeah, I think it's destined to be one of those in-between games.
I think it's very fitting, by the way, that you mentioned a platformer game because, mate, we're actually, in hindsight, we're rolling through these, like they're linking so well together. So we had Adrian come onto the podcast, as some of the viewers will know.
I never noticed.
And we briefly mentioned a game which I happened to find on a PlayStation 2 demo disc back in the day, a game series called Klonoa. And I was very excited to find another person who's played it. And lo and behold, maybe last week, the Klonoa remakes were brought onto PlayStation Plus. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to play these. So the one that I grew up with, the one that I had on the PlayStation 2 is actually the second game. I thought there was a first game on the PlayStation 2, but the original was actually a PS1 game. And then today I just looked back at what the PlayStation 1 version looked like, and I was like, yeah, you can definitely tell that when they remade 1 and 2 onto the PlayStation, you can definitely feel they were made on the different generations. So Klonoa is basically just a platforming based game. Every level has 150 sort of like gems you need to find, and 6 little dudes trapped in bubbles you need to find as well. In terms of aesthetics, it's a very pretty looking game, very simple mechanics. You have either jump or grab. That's all there is, and that's all you need to be able to get through the game. You can grab something and then throw it. You can jump and grab something, or if you've got hold of something, you can jump and use whatever you are grabbing onto to do a double jump. That's literally, in terms of raw mechanics, that is all there is for the Klonoa games. But all the different variations of what you can do with said mechanics are actually quite interesting. So certain things you grab onto, might be a little helicopter thing, so it might actually take you up higher. Or you might have systems where you have to do like multiple double jumps in a row. Well, it's no longer called a double jump if it's multiple, but you know what I mean, to try and get to the different areas of the game. It's a very, very quick game to get through, especially the first one. So I didn't realize how short they were. So when you loaded up like the title screen, the game basically opens up like a book, and it's like, okay, so this is the book, so this must be the world. So I see like Act 1, Act 2, or Vision, whatever. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is just like the first part of the story. Then we flip a page, it's another story. Nope, that one page of the book is the story. So there's literally about 12 levels in the whole game. Again, if you're very gifted at platformers, you could probably get through the whole game in about 4 hours. But if you're a completionist, actually, no, if you're speedrunning, you can get through the game very quickly. But as a completionist, trying to get all 150 gemstones on every level is such a bastard. And the first level is an absolute bastard because it's very frame perfect. So as you go through the game, there might be certain areas where you pick up like this little pixie thingy, which will double the value of whatever gemstones you pick up. And this is literally, on certain levels, this is very much frame perfect for when you have to pick it up and start moving, because otherwise you might miss out on the last one. And I remember being stuck on the first level for about an hour trying to figure out why I've only got 149 and not 150. I've had a great time with it. If you like your very like old, it's not really, I wouldn't say old school, but like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era Klonoa platformer games, check out the Klonoa Return to Phantasmia series, I think it's called. I'm having a great time. Please check out the Klonoa games. I can't really say much more than that. It's literally a pretty platformer where you're a dog dude with a magic ring, and you've sort of piecing together why this little green fairy, and what then all the plot twists at the end, and your usual like, anime plot twist at the end where it's just like, oh, you're not actually from this world, it's an isekai. You're like, oh fuck me. But yeah, honestly, fantastic little... Yeah, literally, I'm not joking, Dan. The plot twist at the end of the first game is you're not actually from this world. And you're like, yeah, but mate, my mum and dad live here. They're like, no. That's not your mum and dad. I've planted false memories in you. You're actually from the time universe. And I was just like, did they really need to... yeah, the bosses in it are all pretty cool. Like, as you go through the game, each new mechanic you pick up sort of feeds into how you deal with the bosses. End boss is a nice little clusterfuck of like 3 or 4 boss fights in a row. Felt good. Nice and quick game. Check it out.
Fair enough. Wasn't it on not Disney Plus? Sorry, wasn't it on PlayStation Plus at some point?
Sorry, say that again?
Yeah, were you playing it on PlayStation Plus?
Yeah, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Literally all the games we've been playing at the moment is just like, well, I've got a week off work. I'm just like, is there anything I want to buy? No? Okay, what's on PlayStation Plus? Yes, I'll take Klonoa.
Do we have any other games or?
Oh, I've been playing Grandia. You mentioned PS1. That's a PS1 classic. I don't have too much to say about it. I think I may have mentioned it on the last episode briefly. Yeah, that's That's one of the timeless RPGs of its generation. If you've not played Grandia, lads, play Grandia. It may be a bit dated, like graphically, but it's still a fun game. I highly recommend that. But that's one I used to play like 20 odd years ago. Never owned it. I think I borrowed it and then finished it. But now I'm taking my sweet ass time of it again, in between like other things. Because like, yeah, you're enjoying this game, but you've beaten it before, so it doesn't feel like a priority.
Yeah.
I'll get round to it when I get round to it. It's kind of like that. But I'm enjoying it more than Sonic Frontiers. That's a given. Yeah, I think gaming-wise, that's about it for me.
Well, there is a dawn of a nugget, isn't there, Brandon?
Do you need to go to the bathroom?
No, this was such an unexpected turn of events. So I'm just like scouring through Netflix, it's Christmas break. I'm just like, oh, what's on? And I just see this thing. I'm just like, oh, Chicken Run is trending on Netflix. I was like, why all of a sudden is Chicken Run trending on Netflix? And as I go in deeper, I was like, hang on a minute. A second Chicken Run film. So I watched it. Well, actually, no, I didn't watch it first. I was like, okay, if I want to enjoy this in its entirety, I need to watch the original Chicken Run and then watch Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget. So obviously there's a 20-year time gap between these two films. And to be honest, the style of animation, you wouldn't believe that the films are 20 years apart. Like, aesthetically, they're both fantastic with the claymation. So, literally, Dawn of the Nugget is the sequel to the original Chicken Run, where you got Rocky and Ginger and the whole chicken crew have sort of settled on that island, and they've now got little Molly, which is their new chick. And obviously, we know from the first film that Rocky obviously was the free rider or whatever. He was out and exploring as in the circus troupe. Ginger wanted to escape the coop and get freedom. Whereas now you've got Molly, who is now sort of that next generation where it's like, okay, so my parents have fought for freedom. They've got freedom, but now that we're free, I'm not allowed to leave the island. So I'm now trapped again. So Molly wants to leave the island, and so that's literally it's just like, okay, Molly's escaped the island. She's now trapped, gone to another chicken-based restaurant thing, and they've now got to go save Molly. It's quite often when you see like old films and they get like a sequel like years later, like it doesn't really feel like it holds up. But I feel like Dawn of the Nugget, yes, I wouldn't rate it as high as original Chicken Run, maybe because of the sentimental values or whatever, I don't know. But Dawn of the Nugget felt like a really nice and pleasant watch. There was a Wallace and Gromit Easter egg hidden in it. I don't know if you guys know about this.
I've not seen it, but I've not seen the film, so I'm unaware of.
So there's this bit like at the end when all the chickens basically appear ready to sort of save the next batch of chickens, and you see this really odd looking chicken in the background, which is I think one of the chickens from Wallace and Gromit with like a glove on its head. So just like a little feed to like obviously some of the forefathers of claymation with Wallace and Gromit. But yeah, it was nice seeing like the sort of new sort of story of Dawn of the Nugget, how you've now got the child wanting the freedom from the parents. So it was a nice sort of tackle on the different aspects of freedom, with where they wanted like physical freedom, whereas now Molly just wants, more freedom as a child, not being kept underneath the parents' wings. But yeah, Dawn of the Nugget, very, very good sequel to Chicken Run. Like, I don't really have any, I don't think I have any problems with it. I mean, it felt okay. If anything, it felt a bit Disney, if I'm to make any comments, and very much over the top in terms of some of the things that happens in it. Obviously, like Chicken Run 1, when like the gravy machine exploded, that was cool. But in Chicken Run Dawn of the Nugget, they get trapped in like a grain silo, and Mac, the scientist, is like, oh, I've got a firework. So they obviously launch the firework and turn all of this grain or corn into popcorn, and they escape. I was like, it's a bit Disneyfied, but oh well. Yeah, that's Dawn of the Nugget. Great. If you want to, just please watch it. If you like Chicken Run and you like claymation, absolutely no qualms with it at all. I think it's a very, very good fitting sequel.
I know.
I'm just looking at the voice cast, because obviously it's not Julius Hawala and Mel Gibson doing it anymore.
No, so they've got a whole new different voice casting. Oh, on the topic of voice acting, there's one this caught me completely off guard. As I was watching it, I was like, okay, yeah, got to the end. Came to like the credits, and they were rolling off the different voice actors. And then all of a sudden I saw Ramesh Ranganathan. I was just like, what? And it's like, oh, Ramesh Ranganathan was, like one of the mouse. And I was like, no, fuck off. So I went back, rewound a little bit to when that certain mouse was talking. I was like, oh shit, it is Ramesh.
So this films are 20 years apart. Chickens don't tend to live for 20 years, so I'm not surprised they've been recast as different voice actors.
Oh yeah, the different voice actors, like, if they're going to age 20 years as well, we're like, go on.
Yeah. Well, Mel Gibson, things have happened in the last 20 years with him, so but he's been replaced with Zachary Levi, who you may know as Shazam.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. It's So it's only on Netflix, isn't it?
I believe so. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
Netflix special.
Yeah, I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah, I know. I know my sister watched it. She enjoyed it. What I didn't realise was their previous film, After Christmas, wasn't claymation. It was all CGI.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
So-
realise that was it then, and then I was like, oh yeah, it's not stop motion with clay. I didn't. No, I looked into it. They've done a bit more without, with like just 3D and not with.
Flushed Away was another one. That was CGI, but that massively underperformed. Actually, it's quite interesting if you look at the history of Aardman and DreamWorks, just Aardman with cinema in general around that time, especially around the Wallace and Gromit time, because there were some massive disputes behind the scenes. Like a lot went on. It's actually surprisingly entertaining for all the wrong reasons. It didn't go well. Things like they were trying to redub Wallace and Gromit. It's like, do not like dub over Peter Sallis. I mean, what are you doing? And because they wanted to change some of the names for things like if you know, Curse of the Rare Rabbit, there's a bit where he's got like a giant marrow, and they were like, oh no, we can't advertise this to kids. They don't know what a marrow is. It's like, you can't say that, so you have to like redub it. And they redub it to Melon, but you can totally tell it sounds so off. And apparently it didn't. Wallace and Gromit didn't test well with like American audiences when it first came. Well, when in the production of it, it's like I say, like the kids, it's like, oh, you can't do that. The kids don't like vegetables. It's got to be like, and they don't understand like your English voice acting. It's like, yeah, it's Aardman, dude. What the fuck? It's a rabbit hole of filmmaking, and it's if you can find out a documentary on it, then I recommend it. Let's see if I can find it now. I shall put it in the Discord for you lads.
Thank you very much.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I watched the new Studio Ghibli film, The Boy and the Heron. I literally watched it today. It's actually, so it's still kind of a bit fresh. Funny enough, I had a really weird experience on Christmas Day. We were like, oh, let's watch a film, and my sister turns around to me and it's like, oh, I watched Spirited Away the other day, and I was like, did I just hear you? I was like, has someone just stepped on a fucking butterfly? Did you really just say what I thought you just said? And so she was like, oh, can we watch another Studio Ghibli film? What's one you recommend? And it mentioned a few, and I was like, oh yeah, I've not seen Howl's Moving Castle. So we rewatched that. Well, I rewatched that. And my sister and my dad, to a disgruntled choice, had to watch it. And that was weird, to watching Studio Ghibli with my family. And then I watched the new one today of time recording. It's today. Yeah, except I've seen all the Studio Ghibli films, everything they've done. So it was, of course, I had to watch the new one, The Boy and the Heron. This is a good film. I heard it. Reviews were saying it was a masterpiece. It's not. It's not a masterpiece. It is a good film. It is a good film though. It's weirdly, but I've only just read this while we've been recording. It's quite autobiographical. I can't fucking say it.
Autobiographical.
That's the word. Damn my dyslexia. Where it with the main character in how I think it's with Hayao Miyazaki. It's more like wanting. I think he wanted someone to take over Ghibli, and they didn't want to, and a bit of that. So, but anyway, The Boy and the Heron, the latest Ghibli film, it has Hayao Miyazaki directing it, who pretty much the poster man of Studio Ghibli. Boy and the Heron is about a boy, funny enough, who loses his mum during the Pacific War in 1943. Afterwards, he moves to the countryside after his dad, a aircraft munitions factory owner, marries someone else who turns out to be his late wife's sister. So that's an interesting thing. And they move to the countryside, and the boy, called Maho, he encounters a grey heron, and he gets a bit obsessed, and he's got a bit of I don't know. He's like trying to deal with the grief of his mother's death, and things take a turn because it's Ghibli. There's normally some fantasy elements, which the heron is the grey heron is a strange heron, as is quite apparent from the get-go. I actually went to see this film in dub, not sub, so the grey heron was played by Robert Pattinson. You would not have known unless I told you that he was played by Robert Pattinson. It makes Chris Pratt as Mario puts him to shame. It's got Dave Bautista is in the film as a
What?
Yeah, I could tell as soon as his character spoke. I was like, oh, that's Dave Bautista. Christian Bale was in it. I can't remember which character he was. No, the dub sounded pretty good.
Well, Ghibli films, the dub tends to not be too bad.
They tend to be pretty good, to be fair. When I rewatched Howl's Moving Castle on Christmas Day, I watched it in dub, and I was like, "Oh, this is pretty good in dub." Obviously, I knew Christian Bale played Howl in the dub for that. I think the one problem with The Boy and the Heron, I said this to my two friends when it was done, it has a really, really long, slow build-up. It really, really takes its time, and it's quite frustrating, actually. Like, you are, for a good over an hour, you're wondering, where the fuck is this film going? Like, not really much has happened. Like, it's just been, things have occurred, but nothing has really happened to a certain extent. It's frustratingly slow, and even when it does get going, I don't know, it then tries to move past certain information. But I guess, it's still Ghibli. It's still good. It's still a good film. Music's incredible. Look, it's Ghibli. It looks fantastic. It might, it's probably like middle of the pack for Ghibli films. It's not, in my eyes, it's not a masterpiece. It's not the next Spirited Away. Definitely not. But it's still a good Ghibli film. It's better than some of the more recent ones. Yeah. Yeah, I don't, if you're Ghibli, if you like your Ghibli films, you're gonna enjoy it. But I didn't really have any expectations, to be honest, and that was kind of a good way to go into it. I was excited to go see it, but I didn't have high expectations. But I knew it wasn't going to be crap either, and it met my expectations. It is a good film. I don't know. I'm probably not selling. It's a weird film to kind of try and sell it, because it's just, the plot's just quite weird in where it all goes. Like, when all the fantasy stuff kind of tries to tie in, it's a bit strange. But I feel like the actual story, I can't even think of any stories that are the same, but I feel like I've seen that story quite a few times, and I've probably seen it done better than this. But it's still a good film. But I also watched another anime. I did actually mention this last episode, but I said I hadn't watched it yet, and that's Pluto, which is on Netflix. This is the silent killer of anime of the year. I think if you've watched it, it just bumps straight up into your top 5 list of anime from 2023. I watched one episode and it jumped straight to my number 4 place, and it's still there. Pluto is it's based off the manga of the same name. It's about a detective. Who is a robot, and one day, one of the 7 strongest robots in the world gets destroyed, and the main character, who is a robot detective who is a robot, he starts investigating this, and it just goes from there. It's loosely based off Astro Boy. One of the strongest robots is called Atom. It's Astro Boy, but it's just not using the actual those names. Atom is literally Astro Boy. There is no difference except for his name. Essentially, Pluto is a murder mystery on why these robots are being destroyed one by one, and why humans are being killed as well. And each person that is killed, and each robot that is killed, the one connecting feature is each corpse has horns around the head of each person or robot, signaling, which is a signal to Pluto, who is one of the main antagonists. I'm only halfway through the series, and I've yet to actually see Pluto. Pluto's appeared but we've yet to actually see him fully. But there's clearly other characters behind Pluto, and it's discovering what's going on, because prior there was a war and all 7 of these robots were participated in the war. It's a bit like iRobot, where robots can't harm humans, but then there's weird things where it's like, but the main character, he kills someone's brother, but because it wasn't direct, he doesn't feel like he actually killed him, but he did, because it was like, let's say, rubble killed it, this person's brother. So it's like, well, you did kill him, but it wasn't direct, so you bypassed the law of not killing humans. So there's some interesting themes and going on. The one thing, it is quite slow, but each episode is an hour long, so you got to dedicate some time, but it is really good. The first episode, I shed a tear, and just over a robot. It was great. It's really good. It's by the manga is by the mangaka. He also did Monster, which I've yet to watch, but I plan to. And he also did Billy Bat, which I don't know if you're familiar with that manga, Brandon.
Oh, no, I'm familiar with Monster though.
Yeah, Billy Bat is the one with loads of bats, or is with Billy Bat, and is like in loads of different like manga styles and comic styles. It's really weird in a kind of good way. It's really goofy. Yeah, I can't remember. He's done like, he's one of these authors where near enough every manga he does is really interesting and really good. I can only think of Monster and Pluto. I can't, and Billy Bat. There's a whole lot of others, but I can't. Without googling them, I can't think of them. Yeah, Pluto is instantly like top 5 anime from last year. It's amazing. So yeah, that's all I've got to say.
Have you been watching anything, Chris?
Yeah, actually. I must point out that this series isn't finished, but we're just having a quick discussion before we started recording. So I've been watching the new series of What If, the new Marvel series on Disney Plus, and I thought I finished the series because there was like 6 episodes up there this afternoon. And I'm thinking, when are there any more? And I had to literally Google it because Disney Plus didn't tell me anything about it. But this series came out on the 22nd of December, and there were 6 episodes. And it's like, it seems to like just finish halfway through. But apparently there's 3 more episodes coming out because they're being released daily, and I've never heard of any show, like apart from your regular daytime TV stuff, being released on a streaming platform daily. It's like, is it like normally weekly or just like the whole lot in one go? But it doesn't say that on Disney Plus. It's just like, have I seen it all? Because I've watched 6 episodes. It's like, no, there's 3 more, but they're being released over the next 3 days. So I can't really tell you what the entire series is like. But it seems just like the first series. It's like an anthology series, like the What Ifs, which is what ifs this happened in Marvel. So each story is pretty much self-contained. If it's anything like the first series, like the final episode does sort of like bring it together. It brings like certain characters from like each story it's told before and puts them in like one story. So I'm assuming that's going to happen as well. But we'll see how we go. Yeah, I've been quite enjoying it, what I've seen. As with any sort of anthology series, some episodes are better than others. Like, I actually thought the opening episode was a bit weak. And the one I just watched, I didn't think was super strong either. But honestly, despite how much I hate Christmas, the 3rd episode, Happy Hogan Saves Christmas, is great because it's essentially Die Hard. They do take scenes from Die Hard and just put it in here in a Marvel context. The context being the Avengers Tower is being taken over by Justin Hammer, who you might remember from Iron Man 2, and the Happy Hogan's like the only one there, so he's like trying to defend it just like John McClane. It's like, this is great. Just make Marvel Die Hard. You can't go wrong. It's like, I've been enjoying it. Yeah, that was a laugh. That's been the strongest episode by far. None of them were like terrible. The last one I watched, the 6th one, has a character I've never heard of before, like a native Indian who goes to like the the Fountain of Youth and goes to like another plane of existence. I don't know anything about this character, whether they've been in Marvel comics before. I don't know. I don't read the comic, or whether this has just been invented for What If, like a unique new character. I honestly thought that story was pretty boring. There's like no surprises. It's like, oh, they're defending here. Oh, they've gone to another plane. Oh no, the baddies are in the existing plane. Quick, come help us. No, I'll go on. Oh, all right then. The end. Okay. Did you write this on the napkin, lads? I mean, only like 25 minutes. It says like half hour, but it's like quite genuine, like 8 minutes of the credits on each episode. So, yeah, 25 minutes and you're done. But they're interesting. Like, if you're talking to your mates and you're talking about some of your favorite franchises and you just make up scenarios, it's like, what if this happened? What if, oh shit.
So, sorry. Because I went on to Disney Plus to have a look at What If, and then an anime that I've been wanting to watch from last year is now on Disney Plus. So now I can watch that at some point.
Oh shit! I've got to do something.
Anyway, yeah, I'm looking at about to have a look at What If. Yeah, you
what if Dan didn't interact that section?
Yeah. So what if
that's
Nebula
fine.
joined the Nova Corps? Is that the first?
Yeah, I
one?
thought I like the characters, but I thought that was like one of the most uninteresting ones. Well, now we're gonna know what anime you wanted to see, Dan, because pretty much we know what you're going to talk about in the next episode.
No, I'm probably not. It's Undead Unluck. Didn't realise that.
No idea.
Yeah. What's he got? That new Percy Jackson. That's now on Disney Plus as well.
I could not give less of his shit.
I just seen a lot of buzz on line. What the fuck? TikTok in the mix. What the fuck is this shit? Why is the fucking shit? Whatever.
I think it's starting to show our age, lad. Big
What?
shot shit.
I don't even...
Practical things Christmas. Welcome to Boomers talk about shit they don't like and stuff they do like.
Yeah, back in my days, Final Fantasy was turn-based.
That's a long name for a podcast. As a little closer to what Brandon was on about earlier with Aardman, and I mentioned a thing. There is a video by a YouTuber called Headache, who you may know. He works with Tom Scar, if you know ASFD movie.
Yeah.
He's quite a funny man. But he does like comedy skits, but like the last couple of years he's also done like short mini documentaries on like, animation and the industry, but obviously with jokes and being funny. But yeah, he did a good one on what went wrong between DreamWorks and Aardman, and it's quite an interesting video, so I recommend it. Headache.
Well, yeah, I'll check out Marvel What If at some point. I think I'm still trying to I think this is the problem with the holidays. You get so busy doing other things, and then you get behind with other things, and you're like, oh, I need to catch up with all these other things that I've got behind with.
See, IRL, I've like knackered my ankle, so I've actually got time to catch up and stuff, which is why I'm juggling about 6 different games at the same time, because they're playing for so long, and I want to think, oh no, I'm not playing the other one, so I've just been like juggling them all.
Oh yeah, I get that.
You do. It's not fun not being able to walk properly, so I don't recommend that. 0 out of 10. Don't break your ankle. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'll try and not do that. I'll make a mental note.
Don't break your phone as well, like I've also done. Well, I say I've done. It just did it itself. It's all going well this time of year. I've ordered a new one though. We're all good.
You know, everything will work out in the end. You gotta believe.
That's the bio.
Okay, Naruto. You know, it'll all work out. Well, at least this is episode 69. Nice.
Oh yeah, nice. Oh damn, I know to call the episode now.
Yeah, I know, way ahead of you. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Is there anything else to say? I don't know.
I don't know. Even though it's been like a relatively short one, we've spoke about a lot of things.
It's just like the backlogs episode.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's just a bit of a backlog, you know. Like I said, Final Fantasy 16. You had Grime. You had your stuff, Brandon.
Curse of the Dead Gods, Klonoa 1 and 2, and Dawn of the Nugget.
You know, we'll have a bit more of a topic next episode. I doubt I've started Jedi Survivor. I still got fucking Spider-Man 2, you know. One day I'll speak about that. So I don't even know what's coming out this year. Well, we said we had that same question last episode, but I don't know what really is.
Main game I'm looking for this year is Wukong, just because it's another Souls-like.
Well,
hopefully it plays a bit smoothly, more smooth than Wolong.
Well, otherwise it'll be so long again from your disk drive.
Well, actually, it's still on there. I during the holiday period, I'm just like, I just want to complete it. So that might actually be my next project, actually, if I can be bothered to plug my Xbox back in.
I don't know, I'm getting a weird craving to play some proper good 3D Mario. I don't know why.
At least you're saying that's why I wanted to pick up the new Super Mario game.
Well,
I am getting Super Mario RPG, so I'll probably be talking about that in a couple of episodes time.
Yeah. I've got a question. Have I ever spoken about Super Mario 3D World on the podcast?
Probably.
I feel like I have, but I also feel like I have. I'm not sure.
It's hard to tell with Mario games because it's like, you go to the right and jump. Great.
Yeah, I don't think I have, but I'm not gonna. I think I know why I haven't. I think because I've also got Bowser's Fury on it, and I think I want to play Bowser's Fury, and I still haven't. I think that's why. That'd be Future Dan's problem.
Yeah, Future Dan.
Yeah, get your act together, Future Dan. Well, there's nothing else. You know what to do.
I think that's it.
You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. And you can listen to us on our many, many places like Spotify, Anchor. Oh, no, it's not Anchor anymore, but oh well.
Spotify podcasters.
Yeah, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and just wherever you get your podcasts. And you can listen to these two on Twitch as well, at Sibaka and at Spanky Rambles.
Indeedy.
I don't think there's anything else really to say. I know it's very, very early, but I know in a few months there might be a strange month for us on the podcast. We'll see what will happen. It might be normal, it might not. You will have to bear with us. But that's our future problem. Other than that, you know us, we'll be doing the same old shit we've always done. Check out Retro Smashed. Those boys are great. Yeah, anything else? Am I missing?
I think
we're all good. Go play Grime. Go do that.
Play Curse of the Dead Gods. That's my highlight.
Go Pokemon.
Go play the Legend of Grimrock games. They're great. I've been playing those loads since I've knackered my ankle. And they're currently on Steam, both games for £6. Plus, there's loads of user-made mods that you can install really, really easily, which are like their own little campaigns. There's fucking hundreds of hours of content there. Go play Legend of Grimrock immediately.
Fair. I went on Amazon the other day and it's selling the new Mario Rabbids, the second Mario Rabbids game for like £15. And I'm like, I'm half tempted, but I've not played the first one. So I'm like, oh, maybe I should play the first one.
I think you'll be able to get that relatively cheap. They're both good games.
Well, the first one's about £20, but it's the fact that the second one's 15. And I was like, it kind of
Just
does.
get it. It's good. You don't need to have played the first one.
No.
All you need to know is like Mario and Rabbids are coexisting.
I think it's just I've got so many games anyway, and my funds mainly need to go to somewhere else than on games in my life. So yeah, it doesn't help. I'm going to get taxed 2 months next month. Or this month, well, for January, I'm going to get taxed 2 months. Yay! But oh well, that's.
You'll get it back in April, won't you?
Oh, it'll straighten it out. It's because December I didn't get taxed at all. That's why. So next month I'm going to get taxed 2 months.
That'd be a big one.
I know, but you know it wasn't not my fault. It's something else. So, but that's just life, I guess, and just more evidence of why I'm in a better situation now. So there we go. Well, if there's nothing else, be safe, everyone. Listen to these two. Listen to us. I don't know. Shit. Watch these two on Twitch because they're great, and be safe. And I hope you all had a nice New Year's. Time of recording. Yep. It's not happened yet for us, but enjoy.
Yep. Ciao.
That's you, guys.
Bye.